My name is Taidy, and I'm 24 years old. I live in a small town unlike any other. Here, nobody asks how honest you are. Nobody cares how hardworking or kind you are. People only look at the numbers on the screen. Whoever has the most views is important. Whoever is trending is the winner. And everyone is unconsciously chasing after those numbers. Taidy, this town is strange. People don't compete to be good, they compete to be famous. One day, I noticed a young man named Vayu. He had only one dream, to make his name known throughout the city. He tried every method to attract attention. The more people talked about him, the happier he became, like someone chasing something that's never enough. Vayu, just want to be famous. Any way will do. Followers, this video is definitely going to go viral. Taidy, he seems to want to be known so badly.
But on another side of the city, there's a young man named Tonkla, the owner of a small, almost unknown noodle shop. He doesn't chase views on social media, doesn't care about fame, but every day he quietly helps people, without ever picking up his phone to record it. Tonkla, it's all right, I'll treat you today. Grandma, thank you so much, dear. Taidy, he helps people as if it's perfectly normal. Both Vayu and Tonkla started from nothing, but they chose different paths. And no one knows that the paths of both of them are about to become a major lesson for the entire nation. Before long, Vayu discovered a truth. Good videos get watched for only a few seconds, but videos that anger people hold attention for much longer. So he started creating content that generated buzz, pretending to insult others, creating drama, talking about things that made people angry. Every time someone criticized him, he would smile. The more people criticize, the more viewers. Followers. The views are skyrocketing again. Taidy, why can't people stop watching? The more criticism, the more views. And with more views, he became increasingly convinced that those numbers represented success.
Before long, Vayu's name was everywhere in town. People talked about him every day. Townsman, have you seen Vayu's video? Another townsman, it's trending. Taidy, everyone's talking about him now. Even though some didn't like what he did, they still followed him out of curiosity about what kind of trouble he would create next. Vayu started gaining hundreds of thousands of followers before moving to millions. And the more famous he became, the more he believed that fame was more important than anything else. While Vayu was becoming famous, Tonkla continued living his life as usual. He sold noodles for 40 baht a bowl, took care of his customers, and helped people whenever he could. Many thought he was wasting his time because those good deeds never became a trend. Many laughed at him. What do you get from helping people? Tonkla just smiled. Some things aren't measured by views. Taidy, perhaps the most valuable things have no number to them. But Tonkla never worried because he believed that the value of something was not measured by the number of people who saw it, but by the number of lives that benefited from it. That morning, it rained heavily from 4 a.m. The streets in front of the market were flooded. But Tonkla still opened his shop as usual. He wasn't rich, didn't drive a luxury car, and didn't have millions of followers. But everyone in the community knew that if any problems arose, Tonkla was always someone they could rely on. Taidy, you're still out selling in this heavy rain? Tonkla, many customers are waiting for breakfast. Taidy, he always thinks of others before himself.
Suddenly, an elderly woman collapsed in the middle of the road. Several cars drove past. Many people took out their phones to film, but no one stepped forward to help. Only Tonkla rushed out into the pouring rain. Grandma, can you hear me? The elderly woman trembled. Help me. He helped the woman up before rushing her to the hospital. Because for him, a person's life was more important than views. The doctor said, if she had arrived just a few minutes later,
the old woman might have been in danger. So Tonkla immediately paid the first installment of the treatment. Half a month's savings disappeared in a single day. The rickshaw driver asked, "Was it worth it, young man?" Tonkla smiled. A person's life has no bargaining price. That night, he sat counting the money in his drawer. Less than 1,000 baht remained. But he slept soundly. Meanwhile, online, the video of the argument was racking up millions of views. And that made me wonder, between what people are interested in and what is truly valuable, these two might not be the same thing at all. After experimenting with various content formats, Vayu discovered what he calls a formula for success. He found that people's anger attracted more attention than truth. Every time someone criticized, the views increased. Every time there was a social debate, the revenue increased accordingly. One of his team members asked, "Aren't you afraid people will hate you?" Vayu laughed. Love can't feed a person, but drama can. Vayu began to believe that it didn't matter whether people loved or hated him, as long as they kept talking about him. One day, Vayu live-streamed from a famous restaurant. He deliberately made insulting remarks to the waiter to provoke criticism. The result was as he expected. Many people were outraged. The clip was shared widely across the city. Vayu, just a little joke. Waiter, I was just doing my job. Online viewers, isn't this going too far? But instead of the number of views decreasing, it skyrocketed. And the more angry people became, the more famous Vayu's name became. That night, several advertising companies contacted him. Numerous offers poured in for Vayu. His income increased rapidly. But not everyone was happy about what was happening. Some team members began to feel uneasy. One young woman on the team whispered, "Maybe we're creating a monster." Vayu smiled coldly. The world doesn't reward good people. The world rewards those who are talked about. They saw that Vayu's fame was growing from controversy, not from respect. But Vayu ignored those warnings. He only saw the numbers increasing daily. Unbeknownst to him, many of his followers were not waiting for his next success. They were waiting for the day he would fail, and the day everything would collapse. After the rainy day incident, I started noticing an old man. His name was Uncle Phomp, or at least that's what he introduced himself as. Uncle Phomp came to Tonkla's shop almost every day. He ordered the same dish, sat at the same corner table, and watched people go by, as if searching for something others couldn't see. Taidy, you come every day, Uncle. Uncle Phomp, this shop makes me feel at ease. Tonkla, the usual, one bowl, right, Uncle? One day, Uncle Pop asked a strange question. If someone offered me 10 million baht in exchange for deceiving the whole country, would you take it? It was a question that many people might answer differently. Tonkla chuckled softly before answering, "I probably wouldn't be able to sleep." That's all? People only eat a few meals a day. It was as if he didn't need to think about it at all. That answer made Uncle Pop silent for a moment. Because in a world where people chase after money and fame, such an answer was incredibly rare. Uncle Pop asked again, "If you've done good your whole life, but no one ever acknowledges it, would you still do it?" Tonkla answered immediately, without the slightest hesitation. "I don't help people so they'll see." Uncle Pop didn't say anything more. That answer made Uncle Pop's eyes tremble slightly. Because throughout his life, he had met many talented people. But those who did good without seeking applause were few. Months passed. Uncle Pop still sat in the same spot. No one knew that his phone was filled with hundreds of video clips. Clips documenting small stories of a young noodle shop owner who helped people without ever realizing that someone was watching him. And perhaps, those stories were worth more than anyone could imagine. After years of fame, Vayu began to feel that mediocre views were no longer exciting. Like someone who had always won, he didn't know the meaning of enough. Vayu, 1 million views isn't enough anymore. Team, what else do you want? He started looking for bigger, more intense, and more shocking content. Unbeknownst to him, he was walking closer to a line he shouldn't cross. Vayu created the biggest content of his life. The rescue scene was staged. The tears were rehearsed in advance. Witnesses were hired to perform. Everything was meticulously scripted. Many team members became uneasy. A female team member, "You're playing with people's trust." Vayu replied, "The truth isn't as important as being captivating." A female team member, "One day, people will know." Some chose to leave because they knew that what was happening was not about inspiring, but about deceiving the entire nation. When the clip was released, it garnered over 10 million views overnight. People shared it nonstop. The media rushed to interview him. Host, "This is the content of the year." Audience, "Amazing." Vayu, "I did it for everyone." Many hailed Vayu as a hero. Loud applause erupted. Many awards were given to him. And that night, Vayu believed he had won.
But on another side of town, a former team member was gathering evidence. Audio files, messages, and documents, all were being sent to the media. 3 days later, people should know the truth. Townspeople, were we deceived? Taidy, the truth may move slowly, but it will eventually come. The truth was revealed. The entire nation was stunned. Those who had once admired him felt betrayed. And when trust was shattered, anger intensified. That day, Vayu learned a painful lesson. Reputation may be built on lies, but trust is built only on the truth. While the news of Vayu was shaking the entire country, another video clip surfaced on the internet. The title was, "A young man who's been helping people for 3 years without knowing someone was filming him." The title was simple, but it attracted a lot of attention. It told the story of a young man who had been helping people for 3 years without ever knowing that someone was recording their stories. Townsman, who is this? Another townsman, I've never seen him before. Taidy, why is everyone so quiet? People started clicking to watch out for more information. But as they continued watching, they couldn't stop. In that clip, there were many small acts of kindness. Tonkla helped an elderly person cross the street, helped a lost child, helped a disabled person, helped vendors, even cared for stray animals. Every event was real. There was no staging, no acting. And never once did Tonkla look at the camera, because he never knew someone was recording him. People began to appreciate it, because what they saw wasn't just content, it was real life. A townsperson, has he been doing this all along? Another townsperson, no one ordered him to. No one filmed it. Taidy, some good deeds never demand applause. Not long after, another truth was revealed. Uncle Fop wasn't just an ordinary old man. He was the owner of a large online media company, one of the most influential in the country. For years, he had been silently observing Tonkla, wanting to prove something. Uncle Fop, I wanted to know if truly good people could remain good, even without being seen. Taidy, you're not just an ordinary customer, are you? And now, I have the answer. He wanted to know if people with genuine goodness in their hearts would continue to do good, even when no one saw. And after watching for so long, the answer was clear. Tonkla had never changed, because he didn't do good for fame, but because that was who he was. And that was the unexpected twist. The video of Tonkla begins simply. No emotional music, no special effects, no prepared dialogue, just footage of real events. A townsperson. Why does this make me want to cry? Another townsperson. Because it's real. Taidy. Sometimes the truth is the most powerful. For 3 years, the image of an ordinary young man helping people selflessly has gained more and more views. People have felt something many thought was missing from society: sincerity. Soon, the video garnered millions of views before reaching tens of millions. Countless comments poured in. A townsperson. Do people like this still exist? Another townsperson. This is a hero. A student. I want to be like him. Many said that they weren't impressed because Tonkla was the best, but because he did what most people knew they should do, but had long forgotten to do. People began sharing their own heartwarming stories. Many communities started organizing charitable events. And for the first time in years, the trend was not anger, but compassion. After the clip became big news, many reporters flocked to Tonkla's shop, but everything remained the same. He still woke up early in the morning, he still washed the dishes himself, he still greeted customers with the same smile. When a reporter asked about his fame, "How do you feel about the fame?" Tonkla thought for a moment before answering, "I'm only afraid of one thing." Reporter, "What are you afraid of?" Tonkla, "I'm afraid people will watch the clip and admire him, but won't do anything about it." That answer silenced the entire country, because people began to realize that admiring good deeds is easy, but actually doing good deeds is much harder. And perhaps this clip wasn't created to make people love Tonkla, but perhaps it was created to make everyone ask themselves, what good things have we done for anyone today?
Valu's luxurious apartment was unusually quiet. His phone, which usually rang all day, was silent. No one's calling. My phone was never this quiet before. Taidy. Sometimes silence is louder than a curse. The last message from his manager was just a few words. All sponsors have withdrawn. Multiple accounts were suspended. All contracts were canceled. The people who used to surround him had disappeared, as if they had never existed. For the first time in years, Vayu was truly alone. And he began to discover that silence might be more terrifying than hatred itself. Vayu watched old videos that had garnered massive views, videos that had earned him huge sums of money, videos that had made the whole country the talk of the town. But the more he watched, the more empty he felt, because none of the videos had truly earned him respect. A tear rolled down his cheek, and for the first time he admitted to himself that people might remember his name, but no one wanted to follow in his footsteps. Vayu. I used to have everything, but why am I left with no one? Taidy. Some things can be bought with money, but not with fame.
While Vayu sat in silence, Tonkla was handing out free food to children in front of a small noodle shop. One child asked, "You're famous now. Why do you still do the same thing?" Tonkla replied, "Because I'm still the same person." Even though he had become a national celebrity, he still woke up early, still washed the dishes himself, and still helped people, like on the first day. Fame had come into his life, but it had never changed his heart. The sapling smiles. If fame changes our minds, it means we don't own fame, but fame is owning us. Little boy, I'll remember that. The child may not understand everything yet, but he remembers those words, like a tiny seed planted in his heart, and perhaps growing one day. I watched that scene silently, before understanding something. The greatest number of views may not be the numbers on the screen,
but maybe good thoughts, passed from one person to another and continuing on, even after many years.
Today, I still remember that image. The image of two people. One spent his entire life chasing fame, forgetting to ask himself, what is the value of fame? The other spent his time doing small things repeatedly, helping people one by one, day after day, without ever expecting the entire nation to know his name. Both started from the same point, but chose different paths, and ultimately, their destinations were completely different. Many people ask, is there still a place for good people in this world? I can't answer that, because sometimes goodness isn't rewarded immediately. But there's one thing I believe. Some seeds grow slower than others. They take time. They require patience. But when they grow, they will become large trees that benefit many more people and last longer than those that grow quickly. And now, before this story ends, I want to leave you with one question. If one day the world gave you 1 million views, why would you want it to happen? Because people appreciate the good things you do, or because people are condemning you for the wrong things you do? This story may be over, but the answer to that question, no one can answer for you, except yourself. And perhaps the most important story may not be about Vayu or about Tonkla, but perhaps the story you are about to write after closing this book. The moral of the story. Receiving praise for your good deeds is more valuable than being remembered for your bad deeds. Fame built on hatred may come quickly, but respect given to goodness lasts much longer. View counts are just numbers, but goodness is a legacy left in people's memories.